Hey guys, welcome back to another video on the channel here. Today we are talking about how to make your ideas, your beat ideas, your lo-fi track ideas into full songs. I have an idea I made today that's right now only a loop, and I wanted to structure it out into a full song, so we're gonna open up the project and we're gonna take a look at how I structure my tracks to make them into full songs. Now, the way I usually start my tracks and my ideas is to make and fully flesh out the last section of the song. And the last section of the song is usually for me where I have all the elements from the song and is the peak and the climax of the whole song. So I usually end up with a project that looks something like this, where I have a bunch of different elements that all play at the same time. And from there on, it's just a puzzle piece to mix and match different sections to make it interesting and have some sort of dynamic going throughout the song, so it's not the same all the time. So let's go into the project and let's see an example of how I would do that and talk your way through the whole process. So this is what the project looks like. Let's take a listen to what I have so far. Right now I have a sort of like an intro section. It's just the piano pad playing, and then I have a drop or the climax of the song, which I want to be the last part of the song. So let's take a listen from the start. So yeah, that's how it sounds right now. For lo-fi tracks for my releases, I usually aim around songs is somewhere between 2 minutes and 2 minutes 30, preferably. Sometimes it goes up to 3. I try to keep it under that. I try to keep it under 3 minutes at least, but my sweet spot is around 2 minutes, 2 minutes 30. And that's usually where my song ends up naturally. So it's not something I usually think about too much, is that I have to hit a certain minute mark, or I don't want the song to be too long or something. I usually just go with the flow, and that's where I mostly end up. So let's take a look at the elements I have in the song first. I have a couple different things playing the chords. I have a pad that sounds like this, which is a pad from Vital. I think it's just a preset called Pitch Swell Pads. I have a piano playing the same chords. This is a contact instrument called Noir. I use this a lot when I make lo-fi. When I make jazzy kind of lo-fi, groovy, upbeat kind of lo-fi, I usually use this contact instrument because I think it resembles kind of a jazzy piano more than some of the other pianos I have. I also used a preset called Jazzy, and the only thing I did, I think, was to turn down a little bit of the, let me see if I can find it, the pedal noises and the mechanical noises, stuff like that. It's playing the same chords at the pad. And then I have a little piano melody going. Same piano as the other one. On this one I have some RC20, and I have an Echo Boy doing some ping pong delay. And then I have a Valhalla vintage verb. And at the end of the chain I have an auto pan. On top of that I have an electric bass guitar playing some groovy stuff. I think it's played on my Fender Mustang bass directly into the DI. And then I have an amp simulator. I use this whenever I need an amp simulator. This is a free one you can get. And because I thought it lacked a bit of sub, I added a sub just playing the root notes beneath it to give it some more body. So that's all the harmonic stuff. On top of that we have some drums, of course. Sounds like this. Very groovy. I have a kick, which is a count kick, I think, yeah, from Splice. And then I have a hi-hat loop, also from Splice, playing some 16th notes, grooving. Then I have a couple different snare layers. The first one sounds like this, which is the main sound of the snare. Then I have this one on top, which is kind of similar. And then I have another snare. And together they make one snare. This is a technique I like to use a lot when I make my snares. I always layer them because I usually can't get the sound I'm looking for from just one snare. So I find 2 or 3 couple different snares, layering them together. On top of that, we have a clap as well, tucked away in the background, so you can't really hear it, but it adds a nice layer to the sound. And then I have a shaker, again just to make it groove. Into the drop I have a drum fill here, saturated a lot with some Radiator from Soundtoys. This is just 2 different splice samples that I've put on top of each other, chopped a bit to make it fit what I wanted. Then I have a couple different reverse crashes and a ride, stuff like that. Pretty standard stuff. And a little bit of a vinyl crackle in the background. So that's all the stuff I have that I can move around, make different sections. The intro right now I think sounds pretty good. Just starting with the piano chords. This is what I would usually start with. Just simple chords. Maybe I could, if I wanted to, take the little piano melody in here, just to give it a bit more development. To add some stuff slowly. And then we have all the stuff coming. Now, I wanted this section here to be the last section of the song, so I'm gonna take it all here, highlight it all, I'm gonna copy it, and I'm gonna take it and put it around, let's say over here, just to start with. So that's where I want to end up. Now we can take some stuff out from the first drop, so we have a bit more dynamic build up to the last. The first thing I would look at to remove is some of the drum layers. I'm thinking we can maybe remove the shaker here. Then it's not as intense as the last bit here. And then maybe we can try taking out the sub here. So we only have the electric bass. Sounds pretty nice. And I think before we go to a breakdown section, I want to repeat all of this again, because I think it's a bit short, but only taking all the harmonic elements and the drums. I'm not taking the drum fill with me or the rides or the crashes. And then after that, we could go down to a breakdown section. And I'm thinking, since we have the pad in the intro, we can maybe take the piano here in the second breakdown section instead. Take both of the pianos. And then, just to have a bit more rhythm, I'm gonna also take the hi-hats with me and one of the snares. And then maybe we can remove them here at the end. Exactly. And I think already I want it to come back in. I don't want the breakdown sections to be too long, because I don't want to call them boring, but they are not as exciting as the drops or the choruses, if you want to call it that. So I'm gonna take the last chorus here and place it there with the fills and everything. So now we have a breakdown section that sounds like this, with just the pianos and a little bit of the drums. It goes into the last drop here. This section I also want to make into 2 here, and this time I'm gonna take the reverse crashes and the drum fill and stuff like that over here, so it also plays halfway through. Then after that, we need some kind of outro. I'm just gonna take the pad, keep the vinyl crackle going. And then I'm just gonna pan it out. To make it a little more interesting, I think I'm gonna remove the piano chords from the first section here. So there's even more of a difference from this to this. that's how I would structure the song, I think. From here, I would make the transitions a little bit more smooth. I would probably add some more stuff in the breakdown section to make it a little more interesting. But this is probably how the structure will end up looking when I have the final song. So if you're having trouble with one of your ideas and you don't know how to structure it, start by doing something like this, and from there you can get creative and remove stuff or add stuff and stuff like that. Make the transitions more smooth. But start with this, like you have some sort of template, and then go from there. That usually works for me if I have trouble getting creative with the structure of the song. So yeah, that's it for this video. If you found it helpful in any way, leave a like, leave a comment if you have something you want to see from me. And if you want to follow along on my next videos, consider subscribing maybe. I have some more videos planned in the future. But yeah, that's it for today. Remember, as always, someday things will get better. Thank you guys.